Welcome to Chandwell. My name's Michael and I've completed the shopfront at the top of Station Road on my N-scale model of a rundown West Yorkshire town set in 1993. In this short video I'm going to show how I use layers of paper to make up these shopfronts and how I use simple folds to make this blue one recessed into the building. Let's start by looking at the three businesses. I drew the shopfront in the free drawing application Inkscape. Upper Crust is based on this cafe that was on Parkgate in Darlington in 2009. Next door is JN Trophies and Engravers, which is always a type of business that seems to appear on the more run-down kind of street, was opposite Upper Crust in Darlington, although I chose not to have window posters in the one in Chandwell. The signage of Hers and Sirs is copied from 2008 Sheffield. It's like an explosion in an apostrophe factory, but they ran out of the one needed in Jackie's, which, in Chandwell, has become Barbara's. I'll talk a bit about why this sign is so ridiculously large in a little while. So with the shop fronts drawn, I separated them into individual layers. The interior, the doors, the window frames, and the signage. My plan was to simply stack these layers on top of each other. I printed them to photo paper, trimmed off the excess to use later, and I was ready to start. I used my scalpel and steel rule to carefully cut out the first three layers. The window frame layer will go on top of the door layer, like this. But you can see a white line around the door caused by the white edge of the window frame layer being visible. I resolve this by using watercolour paint to colour the cut edge of the paper. I paint from the back so that any accidents don't ruin the printed surface. With that done, I use PVA glue to stick the window frame layer onto the door layer. I take care to make sure it all aligns as exactly as I can. Signage now. I roughly cut the sign, and then glue this back onto the paper, and then do the same thing again. I then use gentle strokes of the scalpel to cut the sign out properly. This gives me a sign on a stack of 3 layers of paper. The smart edge can be painted with watercolour, before being stuck onto the shop front. Once the signs are in place, I use PVA glue on the back and stick it to acetate. This is the lid of a box of Lindor chocolates that I got at Christmas. It's still going strong. Any glue that splurges out can be dabbed away with a damp cotton bud. I then use the scalpel to cut the frontages out of the acetate. And then the interior layer can stick behind the glazing. I found that by printing the interior quite dark but having bright white lettering on top of it, I can get a decent effect of lettering being stuck to the glazing. I make the curtains a mid-darkness, darker than the lettering but lighter than the interior, and this has given a good enough impression of curtains in the windows with an open room behind. That's the 2 simple ones done. All I do now is use some PVA glue and drop the frontages into position on the building. Hers and Sirs is a little bit more complex. I start by drawing rectangles to represent the 5 individual bits of glazing in the frontage, and I stick these to acetate. Once cut, I number them so I don't get mixed up. The frontage is in 3 parts, one for each side and one for the door. I add score markers to help me fold the component. Once printed, I cut small slices on the score markers, turn the sheet upside down, and then use the back of my scalpel to firmly score the fold line. I then cut away the paper from the window apertures. I peel away the label that has helped me cut the acetate to the right size, and then use PVA glue to gently stick the glazing into place. I use my ruler to help ensure I get the glazing right up against the outer edge of the component. This gives me a gap of just under 1 mm between both panels, which will allow the component to be folded along the scored line. Something like that. I stick some frame pieces to 1 mm card and cut them out. To ensure a quick bond to the acetate, I squeeze some uhu onto a piece of scrap, and then apply it to the frame with a cocktail stick. The component then sticks into place with the crisp fold looking straight and neat. The door goes on last, and then the whole frontage drops into the building in the same way as the others. I love the enormous bizarre sign on the frontage. Based on Brook Street in Ilkley, and with the stone sill here, it looks like this window was built especially for this huge sign, which is about 2.3 metres tall. This photo from 1920 on the Wharfdale Observer's website shows that the window matched its 3 neighbours, but by the 1960s it had changed. I love that. Good bacon shop. But good bacon shop, Cafe Nico, gin lounge or vacant, I've always known this massive sign and it was fun to reproduce for Barbara and her hair salon in Chandwell. It just stuck on with a bit of PVA, and the frontage is finished. If you'd like to see this building for real, I'll be at the RailX Buxton show tomorrow, Saturday the 6th of July. I'll be at the Engage Society stand at 10:30 in the morning, so come along, have a look. If you want to have a look at it, want to ask me any questions about it, or simply say hello and talk about Chandwell, please do come along, it'll be great to see you. And if you're interested in my build of Bradford Cathedral, I finished drawing the tower, so some progress is going on there too. If you missed the start of the Bradford Cathedral project, go and check out this video, which will give you all the details. As for Station Road, I'm moving on to the back next, so watch out for a future video where we finally get this building finished. So until then, thank you for watching this one, take care, and I'll see you next time, or in Buxton.